best car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we've got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.
Yes, indeed. And I'm pleased to introduce to you the owner of that fine establishment located at 230 Beverly Parkway. I refer to Frontier Motors, and I, of course, refer to Mr. Iven Streckel. If you want to get a price of a car, truck, or SUV you're thinking of buying or selling or trading in, you just give us a call at 476-1007 at 888 if you're outside of the calling area in Alabama. We'd be happy to hear from you. 476-1007. Good morning, Mr. Streckel.
Hey, Don. Thanks so much for the introduction. And again, we have a double format. This is live radio, so if you do want to join us to get a value on your car, you can join us on the show, like Don said, about dialing 476-1007. You might be watching this on cable TV, so this is not a live show if you're watching on cable TV. We do record it 2 to 3 times a month and broadcast it, and the reason we do the cable TV is to let the people know outside of our area, not just in Pensacola, because our cable stations go quite a bit further. Well, of course, we do on 1370 and also 107?
100.7 FM.
100.7 FM. We're on the FM channel since January of this year, and that, of course, gives us the ability to go way outside the Pensacola area. And the advantage of that would be we're getting a lot of people calling from outside the area, taking advantage of some of the things that we do at Frontier Motors that most car dealerships won't do. And one of the main things that we do is give customers free advice. And we give free advice whether they buy a car from us or whether they don't buy a car from us. It might be maybe a car that you want to know what the value might be. Maybe your neighbor or friend or somebody at work has got a car they want to sell. And I know you can go on the internet, which I have a screen in front of me that has the Kelley Blue Book and the Edmunds, and also a consumer's version of the NADA. We really don't use those formats. Being a car dealership, we go a little bit more towards the wholesale end of it. Wholesale would be, what can I buy a car for? And then what can I sell it for and make a moderate profit? And let's say hypothetically that the Kelley Blue Book on a car is $15,000, but the wholesale value is $10,000. I would say that the selling price would be more somewhere in that 12 to 13 range. In other words, if you use the Kelley Blue Book to figure out what to pay for that car, you'd be paying way too much. If you know a dealer paid $35,000, you might not want to offer him $45,000. So if you know the invoice, it certainly is helpful if you're going to buy a brand new car. And at Frontier Motors, we subscribe to the new car cost guides. And these cost guides come about 5 to 6 times a year to us. And the reason they come that often is because prices change. Sometimes prices can change 5 or 6 times a year, where they come out in, most of the new cars come out in September. They're starting to hit the lots in September. They change over to most makes and models. I'm not sure if you knew this or not, but most of the makes and models, the changeover is normally in June and July, which means that the 14s already are starting being produced at the end of July, and normally by the end of August, early September, they start hitting the lots as 14 model cars, even though this is 2013. And so what I can do is what happens is that the pricing would be one price in September, and maybe by December they have a price increase, maybe by February and March they have another price increase, and that's why I get these updated books. Also, sometimes they'll drop a model or pick up a new model throughout the year, which will also be in my new car cost guide. And I can share this information at no charge, so don't pay Consumers Reports $14 for an invoice when you can call Frontier Motors and get the invoice at no charge. The other thing we can also help you with is if you are going to buy a used car from a dealer that doesn't subscribe to Carfax or AutoCheck, which are the 2 largest history reports in the country, at Frontier Motors we subscribe to both AutoCheck and Carfax, and we pay one flat fee, and I can run as many reports as I want. So if you're going to buy a car at maybe a smaller dealer that is telling you you've got to pay for it, I'm not sure if you've been in the market lately for a car, but if you Google Carfax, the last time I did this was about 4 months ago, and a Carfax report was $39. That's quite expensive. I think they had a program you pay $39 and you can run like 6 or 7 in a month. I pay a certain flat fee and I can run as many as I want. So don't pay for a Carfax report. Just call Frontier Motors or Google Frontier Motors and just give us the ID number, maybe the mileage of the car, so we can help you both ways. We can do the history report for you, whether it be AutoCheck or Carfax. maybe both, you prefer both, we can do that. Sometimes the Carfax gets a little more in detail to oil changes and things like that than the auto check, but I've seen it already where the auto check had some information that the Carfax didn't have. So at that point, it's kind of neat to be able to do both of them, give you the information on both. And of course, we don't charge you for this. The other thing we can do is when you give us that ID number, also give us the equipment, the miles, so we can kind of kill two birds with one stone. Not only can we tell you if the history report is a good history report or a bad history report, we can also tell you what we can get you a car like that for and what they're selling in the market. So if you're calling me and you've got a 2011 Ford Taurus, you want me to do a history report, well, if you tell me if it's got leather interior and a sunroof and it's got the navigation system and it's got 25,000 miles on it, and you have the ID number, I can tell you, yep, it's got a clean history report. It's a one-owner car. Doesn't look like it's ever been in an accident as far as I can see, as far as a police report or an insurance claim has been done on it. And the going rate on this particular car, don't pay any more than $24,500. So that way, if you're buying this car from a private individual or maybe, who knows, maybe on eBay or Auto Trader or from a car dealership, and they're asking $29,500 for it, you know that that's way too much if I'm telling you not to pay any more than $24,500 for that particular car. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to come to me and buy the car for $24,500. What that does is give you the ammunition to go back to that person that's selling that car and say, hey, I talked to the guy at Frontier Motors, and he can give me a car just like that for $24,500. So I'll tell you what I'll do. If you drop the price down to $24,500, I'll go ahead and buy your car. So what we're doing, in essence, is helping you get a good deal, even though there's nothing in it for us. Now, there really ultimately is something in it for us. Because if I help you get that deal, most people are going to brag about the dealer that gave you the information to get the deal, not necessarily where you bought the car from. And what happens, you might own that Ford Taurus for the next 5 years, but every time somebody says, where should I go to buy a used car, you'll say, well, go to those guys at Frontier Motors. Those guys are the guys that helped me get a deal on a car, and they knew I wasn't going to buy from them. So why do we give this free information out from morning to night? Well, the reason we do it is because we know that if we help you, whether you buy a car from us or not, you're going to sooner or later give us a chance at getting your business. But more importantly, is anybody that you know is going to hopefully give us a shot at their business because you'll recommend us. And that's really what we've been surviving on at Frontier Motors for the last 17 years, going on 18 years. Of course, when we first started 18 years ago, we didn't have any repeat customers. We were brand new. But within about 3 to 4 years, we started getting repeat customers that were buying their second car from us, maybe even a third car. Of course, now being there for going on 18 years, we have over 70% of our customers are repeat and referral customers. That means only about 30% of people walk in and have never heard of us before. Maybe they heard of us, but maybe weren't a referral or didn't buy a car from us before. But 70% of them knew about Frontier Motors and knew about what we do, and they're giving us a shot. And I really like, on Saturday, for example, we had probably about 50 customers in the dealership, and I think we ended up selling about 10 cars with another 5 or 6 that were going to be sold on Monday because the people just need to talk to their spouses or you want to think about it. A lot of people, when they first come in, they don't want to make that decision right off the bat. But the reason we sold so many cars, and it was very easy for us to sell those cars, is because the people that we sold cars to, most of those people had bought a car from us before. So they knew how the game goes. And when I say game, you know what the games the dealerships play. You know they're going to hit you a high price, and then they're going to sit there and negotiate for 3 or 4 hours. And they know that the game at Frontier Motors doesn't work like that. And I had this happen the other day where a customer came in and said, I want your best possible price. Of course, I gave them my best possible price, and then they made a counter offer. I'm thinking, well, why did you even ask me to give you my best possible price? Which means that if I take your counter offer, then my best possible price was a lie. So what I do is I'll come out and explain it to you that if you want me to give you the best possible price, we will. But we'll do it right off the bat. So we don't have to sit here and negotiate for 2 hours over $50. I'm just going to say, here's what I'm asking for the car. Here's the book value. Here's what the competition is selling that car for. And here's my price. And if my price isn't lower than the competition, it's normally either a newer car with lower miles on it or more equipment or better condition. And those are the reasons that sometimes if I don't have the best price out there, and I've got a program on my computer called Price Driver, which like right now, for example, I'm looking at a Ford Transit, which is a small van that is a cargo van. And I've got a Ford Transit that I have in inventory. It's got 70,000 miles on it. It's a 2010 model. And I have it on the internet right now for $11,900. It's got a retail value, and this is where we talk about the Kelly or the Edmonds, of over $16,000. I have it advertised for $12,900. So now I go into my Price Driver, and it tells me that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them available. But here's one just like ours, and it is got 70,000 miles on it, and the dealer's got it marked at 15.9. And there's one in there for 14.9. There's only one in there that's the same price as ours and has 114,000 miles on it. Ours has 70-some thousand miles on it. So I can share this information with you because a lot of people, what they do is they say, well, I want to think about it. And what they're really saying is, I want to shop a little bit more. That's really the vehicle I want, but I really don't know or believe you that that's the best price out there. So the only way that I'm going to be able to figure that out is to be able to go out in the marketplace and compare your vehicle to whatever else I can find. So I do that comparison for you, because the information that you're going to get is the same information I get, except I can get it much quicker because of the programs that I have available to me that shows me what the competition has available and what's being advertised within the radius. My computer defaults to 150 miles, but I can set it to 300 miles, 500 miles, or nationwide. And you're not going to go to Seattle to buy a Ford Transit, but you might go to Seattle to buy a Maserati. So we have a Maserati in stock, a 2012 model, and if I'm asking, I think we've got ours on the internet for $113,000 now. Folks, this is a $155,000 car. It's got 9,000 miles on for $113,000. So at that point, if somebody in Seattle has one for $5,000 less, you might be inclined to go up there and buy it. So we do a nationwide search if it's a car like that to make sure the car that I have is the least expensive one out there. But these are some of the programs that we can help you with by giving you the information so that if you do stop in a Frontier Motors, you can make a decision without getting so frustrated. And I have so many customers that come into the dealership and they say, well, I haven't bought a new car in 12 years. And the first question out of my mouth, of course, is why? Why haven't you bought a car? Your car is pretty much worthless if it's 12 years old. It's got 160,000 miles on it. He said, well, it's not that I couldn't afford to buy another car. I just hate to buy a car. I said, well, why do you hate to buy a car? Don't you want a new car? Well, of course I want a new car. I just don't like the process. I don't like not knowing if I'm getting a good deal or a bad deal. I don't like not knowing when they hide the trade-in value or they hit me with all the fees afterwards and I get frustrated. I don't like not knowing what my payments are going to be until the end. So what I tell them is, well, I can make it real easy for you. That if I sell you this car today, and let's say the car is a 2013 model car, I said you can come back here in 4 or 5 years, and within 15 to 20 minutes, I can give you a figure on what it would cost you to upgrade that 5-year-old car into a 1-year-old car. And let's say that upgrade is $16,000. And again, I can get you these figures within 15 minutes. And at that point, you can say, well, if you drive that car for another 5 years and don't trade it, and now you have to upgrade for $32,000 because yours is worthless, and the one you're looking at is $32,000. You could have, or $36,000, I should say. You could have maybe had 2 cars for the price of one by trading more often when your car still has a decent value. And I think there's a big mistake of some people saying, well, I get a better deal if I just keep driving my car and driving it, and then I don't have any payments for 6 or 7 years, so I save money that way. But when you consider the fact that the vehicle is going to be almost worthless when you're done with it, and the fact that if you've done any type of reconditioning on that car or any type of major maintenance, I'm not talking about oil changes, but let's say that the check engine light goes on and costs $500 to fix, or you need new front rack and pinions, or you need tie rods, or heaven forbid you need a motor or a transmission starts slipping. Those things you have to put into the equation as far as how much that car costing you. So indirectly, even though that car might be paid for, you don't have a payment. If you're spending $3,000 a year and you divide that out, you indirectly got almost a $300 car payment on a car that's paid for because of all the maintenance you're putting into it. If you buy a car that's maybe 1 or 2 years old, the other than oil changes, maybe tires, there's nothing you're going to have to put into that car because the chances of that car having an issue at that brand new is going to be almost zilch. Frontier Motors has 300 cars in inventory. Matter of fact, I'm going to check my inventory right now and see where we're at as far as 308. Yeah, let's take a look here. I've got right now 298 units. 298 units, but I actually didn't lie because I have a truckload that's not here yet that I bought in Orlando, so I've got about another 5 or 6 cars on the way. So we got about 305 cars in inventory. And the advantage of having that kind of inventory, folks, if you haven't been to Frontier Motors before, is it's almost like going to a car show. I used to go to car shows all the time before I got in the car business, which is not really true because I was always in the car business, but I was a lot kid and a car washer, but I used to be able to go to car shows because I could look at all the different cars. I didn't have to go, if I want to know what's new in the marketplace, car shows are so cool. Unfortunately, there's not any car shows around here. I think the closest car show they have is New Orleans once a year, or maybe in Birmingham or Atlanta. The car show is kind of cool because they don't really pressure you into buying a car. You can actually go to a car show and stroll at your leisure and check out all the shiny cars and look at the different makes and models and some of the new things that you've never even seen before. And that's one of the things that we have at Frontier Motors, is that those 305 cars that we have are unlocked by our salespeople every morning, so that when you come on the lot, you can actually stroll at your leisure. And I had this happen on Saturday, where a good customer of ours came in and said, I really don't know. My wife is ready for a new car, but she really doesn't know what she wants. And I said, well, that's the hardest person to sell. He said, do you mind if you give me one of these price lists right here, and that she just shops by herself? I said, sure, that's not a problem. And she was astounded that we had all of our cars unlocked, because at other car dealerships, they keep the cars locked on purpose. And the reason they do that is so the salesman has to run back and forth. Every time you want to sit in the car, he's got to run and get another key and run back. Well, after doing that for 2 hours, that salesman probably put on 5 miles. Well, you might feel obligated to maybe have to buy a car from the salesman based on the fact that he's helped you so much. We don't want to make you feel like you're obligated to buy a car from us. We want you to pick out a car, and at that point, we don't sell you the car. You pick it out. You already have our price list, and let's say that I'm asking $26,000 for the Lexus that you picked out. Of course, your next question out of your mouth is, can I drive it? Sure, go ahead and drive it. And then the third thing normally is going to be, well, is that your best price, or do you have any leeway? So I'll look at my sheet and I'll see if I've got that car marked up enough where I can do an additional discount. We normally have two prices right off the bat. We have our retail asking price, and we have our discounted price that we have on the internet. Now, of course, when I put my cars on the internet, they go nationwide, so I better make sure that I don't jack the price of those cars up, because I'll never get a phone call. So what I do is I do my research on the internet to make sure that I've got the best possible deal. Sometimes I still have some extra leeway on that particular price that I've got it advertised for, and sometimes I don't. And I'll tell you right off the bat, if I've got one car, maybe on one car I've got, maybe $1,000 leeway. On another car, I might only have $100 or no leeway. That depends on my pricing situation. On the Ford Transit that I have priced at $12,900, I don't have any leeway. It's already almost $4,000 under retail. So if you ask me on that particular car, I'd say, hey, that's it. And I can show you why that's a good price based on all the competition. So it kind of makes it really easy for you to come on the lot and not have to be bothered. I know there's so many people that shop on a Sunday, and the reason they shop on Sunday is because most dealerships are closed on Sunday, and that way you won't be bothered. And you can pick out 2 or 3 cars, and I see people sometimes they go on the dealer's lot and they'll have a clipboard, and they'll write everything down. Now, and some of the younger people, they come on the lot and they've got their iPhone, they scan the ID numbers and they plug it in. They're doing Kelley Blue Books and all these things, and they're storing the information so that on Monday when the dealer's open, they can go back to that dealer, or they can email that dealer and say, hey, this is the car I found. I want to know what your best possible price is. And they've already done the research and run the Carfax and all those things. So it's kind of cool what you can do these days as far as doing the research. But at Frontier Motors, every day is a Sunday. We can leave you alone, or for those people that need help and they know what they want. I've had a customer the other day come in and said, I'm looking for a small import car with an automatic transmission for under $10,000. Well, with 305 cars in inventory, they'd have to look through every car to figure out which one there is. So they came inside, and we made it so simple because I have one of these price lists that are based on, instead of, this one here is by make and model, so it starts with Acura, then BMW, then Buick, and then Cadillac, and so on. But I also have one based on price, which starts at the most expensive vehicle we have all the way down to the least expensive one. So if you're looking for something under $10,000 in an import, I think we had about 6 cars that we had available to us. So it narrowed that customer's search down so quick. And of course, while I'm looking at those imports, I always throw in a couple of domestic products, because some people say, well, I'm looking for an import, but if the import has 120,000 miles on it and the domestic vehicle for the same price has 60,000 miles, sometimes I can talk you into maybe taking a look at that car because it has so many amount of less miles on it. So these are the things that we do at Frontier Motors. But again, I think the coolest thing we do is help people out. And if you're going to buy a car somewhere, it's not our job to badmouth the competition. It's not our job to tell you don't buy that car. I think it's our job as being community oriented to help you make a decision and make the right decision so that you're not going to feel bad afterwards. And every once in a while, I get the customer that calls in and or comes in the dealership and says, did I get a good deal? And he'll bring me the sales contract. And I said, well, when did you buy the car I bought last week? I says, it's a little late. I don't even want to comment on it. I don't want to make you feel bad. Because what if the car that you bought was $20,000 and I tell you don't pay any more than $15,000 for it? So I don't even want to hear that. I want to do it before you went and buy the car. If I'm going to help you, let's do it before you sign. if you have a friend or a relative, or maybe you've got a 16-year-old kid that's ready for their first car, and of course some of the 16-year-old kids are pretty aggressive. They go to the dealerships and they start negotiating, even though they're not in any position to buy the car because you can't really sign a sales contract until you're 18. But they can do the research, and when they come to Frontier Motors, we're going to tell them right off the bat exactly the price of the car, and we're going to treat them with respect as if they were buying the car right then and there. The other thing that we can do is, if you're going to buy a new car, why not come to Frontier Motors and get the car appraised at no charge? And if you're going to buy a brand new Cadillac, let's say you go to Vince Wibbs, you want to buy a brand new Cadillac, and you're driving an F-150 pickup truck, why not bring us that F-150 pickup truck? Within minutes, I'll scan the ID number, I'll put it in my computer, I'll take some pictures of it, and within 5 to 15 minutes, I can give you a wholesale buy bid. And if I tell you, hey, I'll pay you $15,000 for that truck, whether you buy a car from us or not, and you go to that dealer of your choice, whether it be Vince Wibbs on a Cadillac, or let's say you're going to World Ford and buying a Ford, whichever dealer, it doesn't really matter. If you're going to go to the Honda dealership, buy a Honda, you'll know what the appraisal is. So when you walk in that dealership, you negotiate your best possible deal, which I can help you do that also because I've got the new car cost guide, so I can tell you what the dealer paid for it. I never tell you to offer the dealer what they paid for it because they're not going to sell it without making a profit. But I can give you an idea of what a fair profit would be on a particular car, just to make sure that you know you're getting a good deal. And once you've got that out of the way, where you feel, yeah, based on the research from Frontier Motors or maybe the research you've done on the internet, that the particular price that you negotiate is a good price, and you toss them the key to the truck, and they praise the truck and come back and say, well, we'll give you $12,500 for it. And the next thing you could say is, well, Frontier Motors will buy it for $15,000. So either give me $15,000 or you're not going to get the truck, or I'm going to buy somewhere else. And so normally what they'll do is they'll end up reappraising that vehicle, because if I think it's worth $15,000, obviously I think it's worth more than that because I'm going to sell it for a profit. So if that dealership's trying to get it for $12,500, they're being a little bit obnoxious about it. So about the pricing, at least. I'm not saying they're obnoxious, but they might be a little obnoxious about the pricing on it. Oh, by the way, if you're listening to this, you do want a value, I should let you know the phone number is 476-1007. That's 476-1007. If you're outside the area, put an 888 in front of that. So it'll be 888-476-1007. I've got the information standing by where I can give you the values of your car, whether that be a wholesale value or retail value. Yeah, I think Don's got a call already. He's working on it.
Nope.
Was just your wife calling to see what you need to pick up for breakfast, Don?
Didn't stick. Try it again if that was you calling, but they didn't stick.
That's not a problem. And the thing that I was talking about before, folks, is us buying that car. And I saw a billboard the other day. I was doing an appraisal, and there's a billboard on 29 that says, we'll buy your car whether you buy our car or not. And then it says, only at, and it said the name of the dealership. And I'm thinking, like, only at? That's the only place that does that? I don't really think so. Matter of fact, I think we're the ones that started. We've got a billboard out front, or a sign out front, that says that we buy cars and we consign cars. And the reason we do both, and we've been doing it for years and years and years, is because let's say that the wholesale bid on your car is $10,000, and you say, well, I want a little bit more than that. Well, that's all I'm willing to pay. What if I consign it for $11,000? Normally, the reason I can give you a little bit more on consignment because I don't have to tie up my cash. So I can use that money to buy something else. So I can give you a little bit more. And let's say the car's worth $11,500. So I'll still be able to make $500 on the car versus $1,500, but $500 is better than nothing. So you're getting $1,000 more than wholesale, and I'm still making money on the car. And who knows, maybe I'll get a trade-in that I can make some money on. So I do a pretty good consignment business I think last time I looked, we've got about 30 cars on consignment. And I'm very careful to make sure that the consignment cars aren't any more than if it was one of my cars. The only thing they've got to realize, folks, is that if you're going to do a consignment, that you have to have the car in really good condition. It's got to be ready to go.
Can
Tom,
you
have a call?
Squeeze in a call from Joe here?
Hey, Joe, this is Ivan at Frontier Motors. How can we help you?
Yeah, I'm looking at a 09 Xterra
All right.
at another dealership, and I want to see if I'm getting a good deal or not.
Okay. You said it was an 09 Nissan Xterra?
They're asking, it's got 59,000 miles on it, and they're asking 16,000.
Yeah. Do you know which model it is, Joe? Is it a S model, which is the SE, or the X model? Do you know, or the off-road?
I'm not sure he can hear you there. It's got a lot of noise there.
Yeah. Well, let's go with an SE there. I'm assuming it's two-wheel drive.
Hey, Joe. Nope, he's gone.
Oh, that's all right. I can do it for him. He probably can hear me. He said it was 59. I think he said 15. What did you say? 59,000 miles.
Yeah.
I think he did. And based on my pricing, the average wholesale on that car is 12.6, and clean wholesale is 14.4. They're going for probably closer to average wholesale, Joe. I'm thinking average wholesale is around 13, so 14, about 15,000 would be a fair price. And I think you said they're asking 15.9 for it. So if you can get them down, to 15, between 14.5 and 15 with those kind of miles, would be a pretty good deal if it's an SE two-wheel drive. So now, if you can't, if you need any more information, of course, you can always call a dealership. I think he was pretty far out there, Don. We only got 3 minutes left, so we're not going to be able to take any more calls, but I do want to let you know that if you need a value on your car, go ahead and call the dealership. I've got 11 salespeople standing by. We've got 3 sales managers there, and the phone number at the dealership is 850-436-8080. It's a pretty easy number, 436-8080. If you put an 888 in front of that, it'll also be a toll-free call, or you can email us. Just get on our website. Just Google Frontier Motors. It's Frontier Motors, and we'll be the first one that shows up. And there's about 5 Frontier Motors in the nation, but we're the largest, the biggest one. So we sell the most cars, and because of that, we're the first one there. Just click on that. It'll go like contact the dealership or value the trade-in, or if you want to leave a credit app, a secured credit app, and have us get you approved on the financing end of it. Which, by the way, we've got the best rates I think that I've ever had in the finance end of it since I've been in the car business. Like I said before, if you're watching this on TV, you can tell I'm not 15 anymore. But I got started when I was 15 years old, and back then the rates back in the 70s were 18 and 19% interest, and I see interest rates in 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s and all the way on up, depending on your credit. But if you got good credit, it's probably the best rates ever. I have some people that have the cash to buy a car and pay cash for it, but they don't because the interest rates are so low. They can make a little bit more money on that cash than spending it on a car. We are the alternative to new, folks. So if you're going to buy a brand new car, call us. I've got so many cars I like new. I've got brand new cars. For example, I've got a 2013 Honda CRZ, which is a hybrid with 50 miles on. I've got about, last time I counted, we had about 35 cars, almost 40 cars under 10,000 miles. So if you're going to buy a brand new car, why not look at one that's maybe 6 months old or a year old, and let's see if we can't save you $5,000 or $6,000. Sometimes I can talk to a customer even if it's only a $3,000 savings. If the car's like brand new, they'll say, heck, $3,000, that's a pretty good deal. But if the savings gets to $5,000 or $6,000 or $10,000, for sure I can pretty much earn your business as long as I got a car that's the way you like it. And if I don't, what we do is we find the car for you. So if I've got a Lexus in stock and it's black and you say, well, I want a pearl white one, we'll just go out and buy you a pearl white one. You already know the price. We've already appraised your trade-in, and that's how easy we can make it to get your business at Frontier Motors. Again, Frontier Motors, 230 Beverly Parkway. We're in Middle Car City. We're outside of Car City by about, did I just say we're in the middle of Car City? I meant we're outside of Car City. We're in the middle of Escambia County, outside of Car City by about 2 blocks, and one reason is because we want to keep our overhead low. We don't have a mausoleum. Frontier Motors, 436-8080. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
Guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay. Come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier. We got the right price. Frontier. We'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors. Low overhead.